Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at the latest reprint of this Reiner Knizia classic, High Society. In this bidding card game, the players are going to be spending their money to gather all sorts of frivolities. They will be spending their money on fancy possessions, on wining and dining, that sort of thing. And they are trying to collect the highest score, have the most properties, the highest standing in society. But they have to be careful that they do so without spending too much of their money. Let me show you how this works. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of the game. The players are trying to have the highest score possible, which is represented by these cards here, and that is their standing in society, their frivolous properties, things like that, while simultaneously trying to not spend the most money. And so at the beginning of the game, everyone is given one of these decks of cards. They represent the amount of money each player has, and each card has a different amount printed right on it. 6,000, 8,000, 10, 3, all the way down to a 1, and all the way up to a 25,000. And so everyone has an identical deck. We shuffle up these cards, which represent, again, their properties, their standing in society, and we are going to shuffle those, place them face down, and you are ready to begin. So I'm going to remove these for now. We're going to simulate a game with just 3 players. So the way the game works is you are going to flip one over, and that tells you what it is you are bidding on, as well as a value. In this case, 6 victory points, all right? And then starting from the start player, everyone is going to start bidding. And so, for example, I might look at this, and I know the cards go up to a 10, and so I might think, that's pretty good. I'm going to bid 8,000 on that. The next player can either outbid me or pass, and so they might say, fine, I'll bid 10 on it. This player could bid more than that. You could even combine different cards, and so they could play both of these together and say, okay, that's 14. I'm bidding 14. Let's say this player no longer wants to bid. They would they don't think this is worth more than 14. They will take this card back into their hand. This player here thinks this is still fine, and they will add a 6 to this. And here's a trick. I cannot now, if I want to bid something else, take this 10 back and change it with a different card. Once I've played a card and I am still in this bid, I must leave that card on the table. So the most I can do is add to it. So I am up to 16. That player there could add a card or more cards. They cannot change these, or they could simply pass, which they will do. All right, the green player here has won. They will discard these cards. They will take this, what they've won, put that in front of themselves, reveal the next card, and commence the next auction for that. And once again, they could bid whatever they want. It will go around until someone wins it. Some of the cards in here are slightly different than that. They're not just victory points. Some of them are, in fact, negative things, such as this card here, which is a card in which when whoever, quote-unquote, wins this must give up one of their other winnings, one of their other cards. And so the auction for this one and the other few negative cards in the deck is slightly different. Here's how that would work. Let's say this is the card that this player revealed here. And let's say our other players, we're going to go ahead and progress the game a little bit. Let's say everyone has some cards out here like so. So the green player will start this bid and they will bid 3,000. And the other players will, again, they could pass if they wanted to, or they could bid. However, the way this works, since it's a negative card, as soon as a player backs out of the bid, let's say this player here says, yeah, I'm going to just pass. They will take their money back, they will get the negative card, and everyone else pays every card that they've put out, all the money that they have bet on this, that they've bid on it. And so that one is slightly different. You keep going around until someone passes. They're stuck with the bad card. They take their money back, though, and everyone else pays their money. In this case, this one eliminates one of the previously gained cards, so both of these are gone. By the way, if you gain this and you still have none of these positive cards, you'll hang on to it until you, in fact, do win one of these positive cards, and then it's gone. So no getting around it by having nothing in front of you. It will penalize you later anyway. Some of these other cards are ×2. This will double your score at the end of the game, and also you'll see that some have a green frame. This is the end game trigger in the game. There are 4 of these cards that have that frame, and once the 4th is revealed, the game is immediately over. You do not auction that 4th card, that is it, and then everyone is going to count up their score. So you're never quite sure when the game is going to end. There are also in here a card that is half. This is going to half your score. And you have values, which are positive values, as I said. You have 3 of these ×2 cards. And you even have one, passé, which is a -5. -5 victory points, very bad. And so, that is how the game works. However, there is one final big twist in the game, and that is when the game is over, meaning when that 4th green card has been revealed, then everyone checks how much money they have in their hands. Everything they have not spent. And at that point, whoever has the least amount of money is simply too poor to win, too poor to be part of high society, and they are immediately eliminated from the game. They cannot win, and we compare the scores of all of the other players. The highest score is the winner of the game. And so, for example, let's say I have, let's just do a very, very simple one here. Let's say this is what I ended up with, 5 points doubled. That's 10 victory points. If you have more than one of these doubling cards, this would actually be ×3. That's 15. And if you have them all, that's actually ×4 for 20 victory points. All right? That's how you play the game. So let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, before I get into my final thoughts of the game, I do want to mention this is a game from about the mid-90s. It's a game I've played for many years, has had many editions, and it's a game that I, spoiler alert, have enjoyed for many years. I'm very happy to see it back in print, and especially in such a small and portable and neat edition of the game. So let's dive into this. I'm going to kick it off with thematic ties. I've always enjoyed the theme in this game. Now, depending on the version you've seen or played, it takes itself either very seriously, and I think this one does do that with the style of the art, with the way they present the theme, or it's a little more tongue-in-cheek, a little sillier, you know. Either version and either sort of tone works for me. You can have fun with either one. You can sort of make fun of it if you want to and have a group that jokes around about the theme of being very hoity-toity, or you can take it at face value and have fun with that too. So I like the theme just fine. The aesthetics in this version are incredible. They are fantastic. The artist here, whose name is the unbelievably cool Medusa doll maker, has really excelled here, and the artwork in it is fantastic. I love the look of the whole thing. It's just very rich and attractive. So great quality, and the packaging is very nice. The card quality is very nice. For me, Osprey has been a little touch and go as far as the card finish that they've used. Some of their cards, how they finish, which I don't find very tactile, appealing from a tactile point of view. But this version, the finish on these cards, the nice large size of the cards, the central cards, is great. Replayability I've always found to be neat. It's a very small game, but the replayability comes in from the idea of, from the fact that you don't know when the game's going to end, and this, shadow hanging over you the whole time that you better not spend more money than everyone else, or no matter what your score is, you're going to be eliminated. So I like the replayability here quite a bit. Game length is also fantastic. It's a very short game, very punchy game, and that's also appealing to me. Ease of play. It's very high. The only thing here that's a little bit tricky is the way you score when you have multiple of those special cards. As in, if I have a ×2 and a half my score, which one do I do first? How do you line up special cards? If it's the -5 card, the passé card, do I add that in first? And is that part of my doubled score? Things like that. But they have a good example in the rulebook, so it's not a problem. High marks here as well for ease of play. And then lastly, tactics and strategy, luck, things like that. There's a little bit of luck in the order in which the cards come up. If the 4 green cards, those that trigger the end game, if they're near the top and someone was able to snipe a couple of smaller points, well, they might win before you were sort of ready for the game to be over. But usually there's 4 of them. They're usually, spread out enough that the game does not feel that way. And tactically, it's an interesting balancing act between how much do I spend for which cards, how strong do I push for specific things, do I let other people walk away with something because I think they're overpaying and they're going to be eliminated at the end of the game, things like that. And so tactically, I think it's very engaging and very rich, which is why it is so replayable. It's such a small package. There are so few cards in it, but it's replayable because the tactics are really high. So overall, this is a nice game. It's a small game. It's a filler game. This is not going to set the world on fire, but I, for one, am happy to see Osprey Games pick this up, put it out again in such a gorgeous edition, such a well and finely produced edition, and I enjoyed very much. If you've never heard of it, it's time to discover this game, I think. And if you were familiar with it, perhaps you used to own it, perhaps you haven't played it in a while, well, I encourage you to rediscover the game with this version here. This one gets a seal of approval from me. High Society in this new printing is excellent. And I would say go out and grab yourself a copy. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.